graduation stole. Congratulations, Corey, on being the class of 2022. In order to open this file, well, let's first start with our page settings. I am going to print this first one on 8.5 by 14 paper. In order to do that, you go to this page at the top right hand corner, and we're going to change our paper size to this 8.5 by 14. So the width would be 8.5 and the height would be 14. All right, so this is our paper size. The next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to import our design that I created in Canva. It's on our desktop. So I'm going to just go to File, Open, and click on our design. So this is our design. Boom. All right. So now I need to make this design the right size. So I just grab the sides here and shrink it on down. The other way to do this is to click on the design, and right here where it says width, we've already pre-measured our graduation stole, and the smallest part of the graduation stole is 4 inches and the largest part is 4.5. So we're going to make this a 475, and I'm doing it just a little bit bigger just to account for the bleed. We're going to make sure all of our words and our pictures stay within that 4-inch rim, just because that's the smallest point of our graduation stole, but that's at the top where most of this gray is. And now I'm just pulling the rest down because, unfortunately, if I just click on this and I change this 122 to, what is it, 36? It was 36 long because it's the 72-inch graduation stole. So it's 36 inches on each side. I am going to make this 36.5. If I just make this a 36.5, as y'all can see, my graduation stole gets lost. And then I have to grab this to try to find it. And it's all the way down at this bottom. So usually I don't do that. Usually I just take the time. I'm going to show y'all what I usually do, because that was like a mess to do. Usually what I do is I'll just grab here and then keep dragging down until I get to our 36.5. But you by all means can do it the other way, because if it's not in your frame, you just gotta go scroll down to find it. And I don't want to look for it, so this is how I do it. Do it however way is best for you. That's what I tell you. Whichever way is best for you, go for it. Okay, so now that it's within this size, I probably can make this 36.5 now. Okay, cool. Cool, y'all. We got it. All right, so this is our graduation stole, and this is the paper that we are going to do it on. I am going to do one side of this graduation stole in smaller paper, which is our 8.5 by 14. You can also use the 8.5 by 11 page. I'm doing it on this size just because some people have smaller printers, and I want to show you that even you guys with the smaller printers can make graduation stoles. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate our image. So I'll right click on the image and click duplicate. I'm doing this because I think that I'm going to need like 3 or 4 of these. So I'm going to duplicate this again. Yeah, see that? So I got 3 of these duplicated. Cool beans. I'm going to move them over on this side. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to this rectangle, where the draw tool, and hit click, and I'm going to click on the rectangle. I am going to draw a shape of 8.5 by 14. Some people may say that this is overkill, I'm doing too much, but this is the best way to do this that I have found. I mean, there is, I don't know, I'm going to show y'all both ways, but this is the way that I feel like it's best for you to do it so that you don't mess up. So now that you have your box close to this 8.5 by 14, I would just click here at the top just to make sure it's 8.5 by 14. Boom. I'm going to duplicate this 3 times also. So we'll move one over here, duplicate it again. And so the reason I'm doing this is because I am going to crop these to make them fit. So I'm going to duplicate this again. Cool beans. All right. So now I am going to move one of our graduation stoles into our paper frame. because this 8.5 by 14 is the size of our paper. I'm going to not make it all the way to the top. I'm going to bring it down some, just a little, a tad bit. And now I'm going to select both of these images. Next step I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to our modify panel. And right here it says crop. We're going to crop the image. Y'all see that? All right, so this is our first piece. Now let's work on our second piece. We're going to grab another one of our 8.5 by 14 frames. We're going to put our graduation stole in it. And we're going to go up to the top where it is close to class. I overlap these to make sure that I have enough. So you see how it has class of and the full thing is kind of seen here. On my next one, I'm going to cut off half a class just so that I make sure that enough of that is in on my next piece of paper. I'm going to select both of these images and I'm going to go back to our modify panel and hit cut. So this is going to be our second piece. And I'm going to put them together just so y'all can see. Y'all see how it overlaps just a slight bit? All right, cool. So this is piece number 2. And I didn't know whether I was going to need 3 or 4. So that's why I made 3 of these and 4 of those. So let's see if we can do it in 3 pieces. Yep, we can do it in 3 pieces. Good deal. So this next piece we will, I guess we could, yeah, we'll do it just right there. And I'll select both of those, go to modify and hit cut. So we don't need this frame, which is cool. Fine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to print these out. So this is 3 different pieces of paper that we're going to need for one side of the graduation stole. So in order to do this graduation stole in an 8.5 by 14, on 8.5 by 14 pieces of paper, we will need 6 sheets of paper in order to make it. So y'all just keep this in mind when y'all selling these graduation stoles, is that, you know, paper is not very expensive, but this is ink too. So we're thinking about we're using 6 pieces of paper per graduation stole. All right. In order to print, we're going to move our first image into our frame. Remember, guys, our page is 8.5 by 14. So inside of our printer, we have 8.5 by 14 paper. We first want to go to File, Print Page Setup. So I want to make sure that we have 8.5 by 14 paper set up. Right now we have 8.5 by 11. So we're going to click 8.5 by 14, hit OK. Now we're going to go to File and Print. Make sure that you change your paper size inside of Page Setup, because if you don't, your page will be cut off at the bottom. Shall I show you? Hold on, let me show you. You see how this has the gray at the top and it has class? You can see almost the whole class of. If we had went here and in page setup, let's say we had used the 8.5 by 11 at first and hit OK. And now we go to File and Print. You see how class of no longer shows because our page is not set to a 8.5 by 14. It's set up for 8.5 by 11. So make sure that you go to Print Page Setup to change your paper size to correspond with the paper size that you are going to actually use. All right, so now go to Print. Make sure it fits all in there perfectly. And it does. And now we're going to go to make sure our printer is selected. We're using our Epson 16600. And this is how your frame should look. Similar, at least similar to this. I'm using a Mac, so this is exactly how it should look if you're using a Mac. But if you're using a PC, it will look slightly different if your drivers are installed. If your drivers are not installed, you will have a smaller frame and it will not have all of these options and you will not be printing at your maximum quality. So make sure you install your drivers. So we're gonna go here to this layout drop down. Go to color matching. Want to make sure that it says RBG. We don't want to print in this Epson IJ or anything else. So make sure it says RBG 2.2. Next thing we're gonna do is go to our paper settings. And we're going to make sure it's in fine, not normal or draft. Make sure it's in fine printing. And I am going to, I'm not going to mirror my image here. I think go to layouts, and I'm going to make sure I flip horizontally. And the reason we're going to flip horizontally is because we're doing sublimation. And anything that we do sublimation, we're going to make sure that we flip it horizontally. We can do that inside of Silhouette Studio, or you can do it inside of the print. The next thing we're going to do is hit print. As that's sent into our Epson 16600, we are going to go ahead and move this image out of the frame and move our next image into the frame. This is our second piece right here. Our second piece has a little bit of this first piece and a little bit of our last piece in it. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna move it down a little bit because I know I got his whole head in my next print. And as you guys can see, because it is dragging the bottom of this frame, really what I could do is I could cut that off. I'll go to the slice tool. On the left hand side, there is a knife. It's called a knife tool. I'll click on the knife tool, and then I'll draw a line across. And I'll just delete this off. So now, of course, it still fits. His head still fits in. And then I class up. So this fits completely in the frame. And I'll go to File, Print. Well, we'll have to go to Page Setup because we already made sure that it was an 8.5 by 14. But from now on, you should just be able to go to File, Print. Make sure it fits in. Perfect. Print. And all of your other settings should already be in there. The color matching. But just so y'all are aware, I would just double check to make sure everything is selected. And then we're going to print that. And then we'll print our last image the exact same way. And this is how you do a graduation stole in an 8.5 by 14 sheet of paper. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Like, share, subscribe, and make sure that you tune in to our next video of the True Crafting Crew. See you guys later.